bullet grazed past as a wild boar in the French field let out a fierce roar and vanished into the dense forest. That was the last time Thomas's team would let these beasts slip away so easily, after the French field suffered heavy destruction. These monsters, with razor-sharp tusks and cunning minds, continued their ruthless reign unchecked. Now, they're back, better prepared and more determined than ever to right their past mistakes. How will this battle unfold? Stay tuned to find out. At first light, Thomas's team arrived, spreading out to seal off the forest from every side. Within minutes, every position was set, locked and ready, waiting for the beasts to emerge. Gunfire began to echo from other corners, but from Thomas's hideout, all remained still. Suddenly, a dense herd of wild boars charged through the trees right before Thomas's eyes. Like a trigger unleashed, a rapid volley of shots rang out, taking down each one. The heavy thuds of their falls echoed through the forest. The assault ended flawlessly, redeeming the mistakes of the past. The battle rages on, not just to atone for past mistakes, but to protect the very survival of the fields. Moving silently deeper into the heart of the forest, eyes sharp as a drawn bowstring scan each tree, gun always poised to fire. In an instant, the beast's silhouette slowly slips into sight. Holding a steady breath, the trigger is pulled. The creature falls instantly, never even realizing what hit it. Before Thomas could move in to check, the sharp baying of hunting dogs immediately caught his attention. He changed direction, rushing toward the thick brush. Just seconds later, the powerful form of the beast came into clear view. Without hesitation, the bullet was fired, striking the animal dead center. The beast collapsed, surrounded by the pack of hounds. A swift, clean, and precise strike, putting an end to yet another threat in this area. At the same time, James' team, pre-assigned to secure the field, moved swiftly to halt another wave of destruction from the feral beasts. Their top-of-the-line GPS scanner swept across the vast field. Soon enough, a signal popped up. James tracked it closely, moving cautiously while tuning in to every sound around. The rustling grew closer, gun in hand, ready to fire. The moment the beast revealed itself, a shot rang out. Not a single cry, just a thud as it collapsed onto the dry earth, motionless. Not stopping there, they pushed on to the edge of the field, the very gateway where the wild boars stormed in to wreak havoc. The hunting dogs charged, sweeping through the dense rows of sugarcane. Oh my god! The beast burst out like an arrow! James squeezed the trigger without hesitation. The animal thrashed wildly, crashing into the nearby cane stalks. Cheers erupted. It was down for good. Another disaster wiped from the land. On the eastern edge of the field, Kevin executed a flawless ambush. As his eyes scanned the bushes across from him, a dark figure suddenly charged forward. Without hesitation, a single shot was enough to bring the beast down. The danger was completely eliminated, restoring peace to this stretch of the field. Hunting wild boar has never been easy. It demands sacrifice, facing danger head-on, and always staying ready for anything.
Wild boars have exceeded the allowable population density. With their numbers overwhelming the ecosystem, they've become a real threat to both the forest and the nearby human communities. They destroy vegetation, tear up the ground surface, damage young tree roots, and cause soil erosion. Today's hunt is not merely for sport or a traditional festivity, it's part of an ecological management mission. On a cold winter morning in the forests of Hungary, Chris Dorsey and his hunting team were already in position, swiftly moving toward their designated ambush spots. Suddenly, the sharp rustle of leaves echoed nearby. A massive wild boar burst out of the underbrush at incredible speed. A series of precise shots rang out. In an instant, the boar collapsed, unable to take another step. Gunfire erupted from other positions. Every trigger pull carried an ecological responsibility, controlling the wild boar population to protect the forest ecosystem, which has been increasingly threatened by their overpopulation. Not far away, the sound of barking dogs echoed through the air, signaling the target's location. We followed the noise to the designated intercept point marked by Phoenix. As expected, it was heading straight toward where I was waiting. I aimed carefully, tracking the wild boar's every stride. And with a clean shot, its escape came to an end. No more destruction, no more running. Rain began to fall, and we quickly took cover at our ambush positions, waiting for the prey to appear. This was the moment they would start moving back to their shelter. As expected, a group of wild boars emerged, sprinting in formation at full speed. Waiting until they came close, Liam swiftly pulled the trigger. Bursts of gunfire echoed through the trees. In the end, he brought down the lead boar, but the others quickly vanished into the depths of the forest. The rain had just stopped, and we immediately resumed tracking the remaining trail. Just 5 minutes later, the barking of the hounds echoed from within the bushes, a clear sign. I halted, eyes straining to observe. Suddenly, a wild boar charged straight out from the low leaves in front of me. Without a second thought, I raised my gun and pulled the trigger repeatedly. The boar took the hits, staggered, then collapsed down the slope from sheer inertia. I whistled, calling the dogs to search for the boar's body further below. It was a swift, decisive strike, leaving the beast no chance to escape. The sun still hung high above as our hunting group pressed deeper into the forest. A herd of wild boars cut across the path where we had been lying in wait. A volley of gunfire erupted. Not every shot landed, but a few boars dropped, their escape cut short midway. The atmosphere shifted. You could feel it in the nods exchanged, the lighter steps, a quiet sense of triumph as we moved forward through the dense underbrush. As the sunlight faded, we rushed to track down the stragglers before nightfall closed in. Gunfire echoed through the forest. Suddenly, a dark figure burst out from the thicket right in front of me. Without hesitation, I pulled the trigger, but it wasn't enough. The target slipped away. I quickly identified the direction it was heading and radioed Kay. "One's headed your way." Less than a minute later, Kay's shot rang out clean and sharp. One final trophy to mark the end of a long, hard-fought day.
In the rugged mountains of Turkey and the fields of Morocco, wild boars are causing severe damage. They ravage cornfields and uproot orchards, leaving farmers at risk of losing entire harvests. Faced with this dire situation, authorities have authorized hunters to curb these destructive pests. In today's hunt, John and Nick's team head straight into the beast's battleground. The first destination is the dense Turkish forest, where John's team has planned to block key trails. Everyone takes their positions, meticulously preparing for the imminent battle. At this moment, John approaches the trail the beast is certain to pass through. As soon as he arrives, he immediately assumes a ready stance. And then, as predicted, a wild boar appears. The first shot is also the only one needed. The beast collapses without a chance to resist. A few dozen meters from the initial position, through his scope, John quickly spots a wild boar creeping up the hillside. The beast is unaware of the rifle barrel waiting ahead. The marksman seizes the moment, firing the instant it comes into view. One shot, one kill. There's no room for error here. A single miss could cost an entire harvest, or even a life. Deep within the forest, another marksman lies in wait, carefully observing his surroundings. 10 minutes pass, and his patience is swiftly rewarded. A faint, unusual sound echoes, and the beast appears in his line of sight. Without a moment's hesitation, one shot is all it takes. The creature collapses, unaware it has fallen into the trap. At the same time, Nick's team is en route to today's hunting ground. The entire team is aboard a vehicle, venturing deep into the fields. Suddenly, a massive dark shadow looms into view. Nick instantly readies himself for whatever might come. Oh my god! The beast charges straight toward their vehicle. Gunshots ring out, successfully bringing it down. Thankfully, they've escaped the beast's ferocious attack. Hunting is always fraught with lurking dangers. Therefore, when hunting, you must observe meticulously and maintain composure before acting. Without pausing, Nick's team presses on to the planned location, setting up an ambush across the field. They take their positions, concealing themselves carefully. Moments later, a wild boar appears, charging through the open space. Everything unfolds as calculated. With just a few shots ringing out, the beast collapses, unable to escape. As the day darkens, Nick hurries to the edge of the field, where clashes between man and beast are most frequent. Not long after, a wild boar suddenly bursts from the dense bushes, seemingly fleeing from something. In a split second, Nick fires. The bullet ends a potential threat, securing another peaceful day for the field.
Germany's fields are struggling against the ferocious devastation caused by wild boars. They tear through furrows of soil, destroying crops and leaving millions of dollars in damages. Hunters are ready to step into the battle against these destructive invaders. Each cold, calculated shot and every heart-pounding moment of confrontation feels like a real battlefield, keeping you glued to the screen. Will the hunters have the grit to take down these marauders? Watch until the end to pick out the most thrilling moment. Today's journey began with a tightly coordinated ambush, leaving no chance for any wild boar to escape. In the fields of Brandenburg, Kevin's team arrived early, spreading out to cover all directions. Not long after, at the edge of the vegetable field, a wild boar suddenly charged out, cutting across Nick's position. Without hesitation, Nick pulled the trigger. A burst of gunfire rang out decisively, taking down the prey before it could slip away. A swift and precise move, truly befitting the team's top shooter, striking fear into the wild boars. The sun was high in the sky, and Kevin's team swiftly moved to the neighboring field. The entire team quickly took their pre-assigned ambush positions. Just 10 minutes later, in the eastern direction, Jay spotted a group of wild boars beginning to ravage the area. He immediately locked onto the largest, fattest boar in the group. A decisive gunshot rang out, and the target collapsed on the spot. But before Jay could reload for another shot, the remaining boars managed to slip into nearby bushes, disappearing in an instant. As soon as the group of boars disappeared, Jay immediately reported their direction of movement over the radio. Using tracking signals, the team quickly narrowed down the suspicious area. At that very moment, near Kevin's ambush position, a wild boar burst out of the bushes, frantically trying to escape. With a single, clean, and precise shot, the massive beast was brought down. Another target eliminated, another victory notched. The field was officially restored to peace, at least for today. At the same moment, in the fields of Lower Saxony, another hunting team was stealthily tracking the destructive pests concealed within the towering grass. James held his post at the edge of a thick patch of grass, right next to the cornfield. Suddenly, a wild boar emerged, slinking toward the corn rows, ready to unleash destruction. Seizing the moment as it stepped out from the grass cover, James instantly pulled the trigger. A single, accurate shot rang out, eliminating the threat. Had he hesitated for even a split second, the cornfield might have been ravaged by the beast's claws. A few minutes later, the sudden barking of hunting dogs echoed from the trail, a clear signal that a target had appeared. James and his team immediately rushed forward, quickly pinpointing the source of the sound. They swiftly took their positions, eyes locked on the bushes ahead. Then, as a dark shadow emerged, gunfire rang out decisively. The wild boar collapsed onto the cold ground, unable to take another step. Another disaster was stopped in its tracks before it could wreak havoc on this field.
The wild boar population in the US has reached alarming levels, with Texas alone reporting nearly 3 million of these beasts, a staggering number. With such a horde, they've ravaged everything from crops and land to barns thought to be impenetrable. Traps have been set far and wide, but these cunning monsters slip away with ease. That's why today, Nick's hunting crew is heading straight to their lair, tracking them to the source to protect our homeland. Will this hunt succeed in stopping these marauding beasts? Join us for the heart-pounding moments that follow. This hunt is as dangerous as it gets, with the team fully geared up to venture into the Texas swamps, the sacred stronghold of these monstrous beasts. Nick's crew races forward on a boat, slicing through the dense brush at breakneck speed. Every pair of eyes scans the surroundings, not missing a single twitch in the undergrowth. Within minutes, Nick spots the target. The team closes in, rifles raised and ready. As the wild boars come into view, shots ring out with near-perfect precision. The herd doesn't even have a chance to flee. They drop right there in the swamp. Jay expertly maneuvers the boat, weaving through towering grass in hot pursuit of the prey. The roar of the engine sends the wild boars into a panic, scattering in a frantic bid to escape. Jay swerves closer, pinning the beast in place, giving Nick and the crew the perfect shot to launch their attack. In an instant, a barrage of bullets erupts, relentlessly taking down one boar after another. Everywhere they pass, only the strewn carcasses of the beasts remain. On the tranquil river, where wild boars often bask in the sun and forage for food, Leon and his team were assigned to this hotspot. They moved silently, careful not to make a sound that could give them away. "15 minutes later, a boar suddenly bolted from the river's edge, desperate to escape. Without a moment's hesitation, Leon fired. A single bullet was all it took to drop the beast. It didn't stand a chance against his deadly aim. After an incredible morning haul, the team took a quick break to gear up for the afternoon hunt. By 3 p.m., Nick's crew was already out on the high ground, thick with brush, ready to track their prey. The truck roared forward, its engine snarling as they tore through the undergrowth, scouring every thicket. It didn't take long for a wild boar to show itself. Nick seized the moment, closing in with seasoned skill, and in a split second, he dropped the beast with flawless precision. Before Nick could even check the kill, the hound's barking erupted nearby, and he charged toward the sound without hesitation. Oh, there it was, a wild boar, cornered and pinned by the relentless pack of hunting dogs.
Get him.
Nick's signal to the dogs didn't work, so he crept closer, silent as a shadow, to avoid spooking the beast. Then, with perfect timing, the familiar crack of his rifle rang out. The boar collapsed, powerless to fight back. Beneath the thick tangle of brush, Jay's eyes locked onto a wild boar, frantically searching for a place to hide. This was the golden moment. Jay squeezed the trigger, each shot ringing out, halting the beast's desperate run. It crashed to the cold ground in a heap. A sigh of relief escaped Jay's lips. He knew this land would have one more day of peace.